Good evening, everybody, and how are we all doing today? It's a very hot day here in sunny West Sussex. I forgot where I live for a minute. Now that's embarrassing. Um, yeah, very, very hot day. I've been on call all weekend, which has caused a lot of problems, but don't you worry about that. We're here. We've gone live. It's 6 p.m. and everything is as it should be. Hope you are all well. Now, today I've had very kindly a few videos sent in that I'm going to go through, as well as a few photos of the chance to see your plots. But also, if you are on your plot at the moment and you want to uh, do a live stream from there, just click on the link and we can all see your garden or allotment. We'll go through what have we been up to over this last week, but first, let's see if anybody is out there. First of all, yes, Adrian is out there. Good evening to you. Philly SBB is out there. Good evening to you. Ballycillian Allotment Man is out there. Hello all. Looking forward to another great show tonight. Well, I hope it is a good show for you guys. Oracle is out there. Hello, Army. The heat here is unreal, but I'm sure Richard is getting it bad in London. Yeah, I'm sweating buckets. Worst thing is I haven't done. Worst thing is I've been on call over this heat, but I'll come to that in a moment. Good evening, podcasters from a 33 degrees in Birmingham from Turbo Stream. Ballycillian, not so bad here. Turbo, 21 degrees C and rain forecast. I just saw on my screen thunderstorm is forecast for my area. So, yeah, hopefully it'll cool it down. Turbo Stream says he'll swap Bally, forget what 21C feels like. Hargrave Guest is joining us. Evening, everyone. Hope you've had a good week and not suffered too much heat damage. Digwell is out there. I'm sweating in parts I did not know I have. I know how you feel. I think I need guttering. I'm sweating so much. Anna Jones is, oh, if it comes up, Anna Jones is there. Good evening. Hello to you. Oh, what happens there? There we go. Hopefully that's only a one-off. Richard Golden's out there. Good evening to you. And Margaret Peacock is out there. Good evening to you. Digwell is saying it's like waiting for the big act to come on stage. And Richard is saying, Richard. Indeed. Money Boots is out there. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. Hope you are feeling much better, but also hope you are taking it easy. Beatrice is out there. Good evening to you. Who else have we got? Kate Spratt is out there. Good evening to you. Ian Beddoes, evening veggies. Good evening to you. Stuart Jackson, evening Richard and the Veg Army. Hope everyone is well. Good evening to you. My dad is out there. Good evening to you. Graham Arnold, good evening to you. And Kate Spratt is saying, please, for the love of God, let it rain. We need some rain, don't we? It is so dry. You may have seen a video out the other day on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just a quick bit of plans of what I hope to do on my allotment as we enter into what I consider the beginning of the next season when we start planting our garlic and stuff. But there was one bit that I showed that just showed how hard and solid my clay is because it hasn't rained. I think the last time we had rain, last time we had rain was back in May. It's dry. We're officially in a drought here in West Sussex as well. We haven't got a hosepipe ban. So we're going to be doing that okay. But I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post that'll be out on the website about how we can deal with droughts in the future. Just something I felt like writing up. Now, what have we been up to over this last week? So Monday to Friday, I've been really lucky in some ways. This is going to sound really bad. My wife Amanda hasn't been here overnight. She's been here from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, but she's had to go off and look after her mum. She's here this weekend, thankfully. And what I found, weirdly, I seem to have more time. Just me and Roxy. I come home from work about 5:30. We'll have dinner, and then we'll go for a couple hours walk. I would usually stop off at the allotment on the way home from work, do a bit of watering and weeding, and then go for a walk, And then in the morning, I'm getting up and I'm doing gardening at home. And I feel like I've done so much more, hence why I was able to produce a video, done put a recipe on the website and various other things like that. It's amazing how not having the wife here would made my life a little bit more more time, I think is the way to say it. Well, anyway, so yeah, bit of weeding, bit of watering. I've popped into lots of the high street. I think I would call them department stores. You know, the Wilco's, the Range, B&M. And I'm talking about this on the podcast tomorrow. This is the time of year they are selling off a lot of their summer gardening products, and I've been picking up quite a few bargains. Got some plants, tabby bush for £1. I've got a bonsai apple tree, which is a bit of fun. It cost me £20, so it wasn't so much a bargain, but it's just a bit of fun. Grow bags, 50p a bag. A lot of bargains that are available now, especially in Wilco's, as they're trying to get rid of their old stock and bring in their Christmas stock. So yeah, been doing a lot of bargain hunting. And popped at home yesterday evening. We were doing some gardening. Had to pot up some of these discount plants that I had, get them into bigger pots so that they can start to establish themselves. Far too dry, far too hot to try and get them in the ground. So yeah, I've got those into bigger pots, spent a bit of time with the chickens and tidying those up and giving them a really good clean. Popped to the allotment very early this morning. I've been out all day for work, all day yesterday for work as well. What was I doing? What was I doing today on the allotment? It feels like such a long time ago. Harvested the potatoes, the Charlotte potatoes that are in buckets for an experiment with the different types of compost. That'll be coming out on the podcast and YouTube channel, the results of that, so I won't go too much into that. And I've sown some Phacelia into the old raspberry bed, and as a way of trying to get on top of the weeds and get that area just a little bit tidied up. So over to you guys. What have you been up to over this last week? Don't be afraid if you haven't done much. It has been hot. Turbo Stream says, my soil is unworkable at the moment. Can't even pull the weeds out. I know, it is like concrete. I honestly don't know when it's ever been so dry. As I said, this is something I've noted actually here at home. Oh, we have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
It's the Oracle.
Hello, Oracle. How are you today?
Oh, did you want to sleep, Richard? Ducking from the sun, hiding from the sun, trying to find whatever shade you can get, you know?
Yeah, it's very hot.
I was just phoning in before the show really kicks off. I'm going to ask the question. How's everyone finding water over there in England to use? I know there's no hose pipe banning, but I see that you were on Amber on the news. There was a big thing round by London, really right up there.
Yes.
I know a lot of you don't have direct water feed, so just for curiosity, anyone that doesn't have the direct water feed and they rely on the rainwater,
yeah,
they find it tight at the minute, or they have to bring water to the platter. What's happening in that third direction?
Well, I'll put that out there for everyone else to ask. My allotment, we have some dipping troughs that we can use with mains water, so we're okay. Hosepipe ban doesn't affect me on the allotment, or I don't use a hosepipe ban on the allotment or at home for that. But we're only allowed 2 water butts per plot as well, which I think is a stupid rule, and I'm hoping this is going to make them change it. Here at home, I still have 4 water butts that are full of water. I have 14 in total in my garden, so lots that I can use, and 4 still full, I think is doing pretty good.
I remember we had the chat before, Richard, on one of your previous things, and it was just for curiosity. We were talking about the water butts, and we were saying it should be an essential. But now I know that there's not a lot over there. It has mains feed or them dipping troughs. You know, a lot of them do rely on the water coming from the rain, and I'm sure that a lot of it evaporated enough. I was just curious what they're going to do in the situation like now.
Yeah, well, again, allotments also come under agricultural land, as I understand it. So technically, we've got certain allowances, shall we say, compared to a home garden. We fall into the same category as a farmer, where it's considered essential.
Well, there's hose pipe ponds in Northern Ireland, but you're still allowed to water your garden. Like, the hose pipe pond, I think, is just for people to go out and do their car.
Yeah.
Like, wasting water's silly, but you're still allowed to do your allotment. Like, sure, you can't let plants die. They're living creatures still, aren't they?
No, exactly right. Exactly right. I agree with that.
I was just curious to see, if anyone puts it out there to see what they do. And see another thing I was curious too. Did Richard Jackson ever sort that pear tree out? Because it's coming up to the time of the month. He's 3 months now coming. You'll have to trim it. And I was just looking at mine, and the pears are starting to appear on it. For picking ways.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Stuart Jackson, did he ever sort the pear tree out?
Oh, Stuart Jackson, did he ever sort the pear tree out? I don't think so. I think they were waiting for the winter months to do it. So we'll put it out there and see what it comes back with.
November, he'll be able to trim it,
Yeah.
Tell him I'm at the end of a phone call if he needs any time to help the way he wants to prune it or wash it or whatever.
Yeah, he is watching, so I'm sure he's heard that.
No, there's no issue there. Like, I wouldn't like to see them on stuck in the pear tree,
Yeah.
Because you see on trees, they're brilliant to have on places, especially for the kids.
Yes.
If he gets it now and starts gathering them water bottles in, like I said, and put the string in it and bend them branches down that, you should have that tree going in no time, for the kids.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you don't mind, Richard, putting that out there, mate, just a curiosity to see what they're doing just for the heat. It's just an wee bit the add to the bow, isn't it?
Yeah, I will put it out there and see what anybody says.
That's brilliant, Richard.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers, Oracle.
Yes, and God bless, son.
And to you.
God bless. Thank you.
Take care.
Richard. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. So there we go. That was Oracle on the phone, asking a good question, actually. What is everyone doing for water on your allotments? It is a struggle. And it's taken a lot of time. Jenny says, sorry, I'm late. I was busy harvesting marrow, runner beans, squash, tomatoes, raspberries, pink blueberry, and sunflower heads. Busy. Nigel says, cheers, guys. After everybody sending their best wishes to him. Lisa, good evening, everyone. Lovely to see you. Hope you are well. Nicola Cornish, heaven is out there. Evening, Richard and all. Good evening to you. Turbo Stream, this past week has been mainly watering and bringing down wood chippings that were dropped by the main gate. Yeah, watering is pretty much a necessity in this weather. As Nicola says, been watering just before this, as most of my stuff is in tubes. In fact, on that note, I've actually lost my kale plants. I planted them out last week, which probably was the wrong thing to do, and they just withered in the sun. So even though I was down there trying to water them daily, I've lost my kale plants. That was a bit of a lesson for me. I shouldn't have done it when they were this hot. I shouldn't have planted them out when it was this hot. Stuart says, all I have done this week is water morning and evening, too hot for anything else, I think. I do agree with that. I've sowed the rocket from the supporters club and more lettuce. Yep, the rocket was out in the supporters club. I've got to sow mine, actually. I might do that after this show. Lisa, I've watered, deadheaded and picked, and that's about it, as it's been too warm, though I did spend half hour hoeing this morning. Yeah. I mean, I found that when I got to the allotment this morning about 6:30, it's just a nice temperature to try and get on and do a few bits. Same as yesterday evening, doing bits at home. I could have done early yesterday morning, but I didn't get back from work till midnight on Friday, so I wasn't getting up early. Nicholas says, was late joining the chat as slicing patty pan squash for tea tonight with a burger. Sounds lovely. We had courgette gratin. It was delicious. Absolutely delicious. Idaho Garden Girls joined. Hello, everyone. And hello, Richard and everyone in the chat. Hi, Nicola, Jenny, blah, 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 blah. Saying hello to everyone. Graham says, sowed some dwarf French beans today. Hopefully I'll get a light crop. That's not a bad idea. It's certainly possible, especially if they're the fast growing ones. Stuart Jackson says, no hosepipe ban here with the Wessex water yet. Now, we've got no hosepipe ban here, but if I was a few miles either west or east, I would be in a hosepipe ban. There's no plans for a hosepipe ban, but we are in a drought. It's official, we are in a drought. Turbo Slim says to Oracle, asking a question about on the plot. We have mains water on our plots that fill old baths. No hose pipes allowed on our plot flow. It's similar to mine. No hose pipes allowed, but mains water to a trough. Jenny says, my village reached 39 in the sun, 37 in the shade. Not fun. I try and water with a can, but sometimes I have to use a hose, but it's not on high, and I direct it at the roots. I think that was going to answer again Oracle's question. Now, somebody in the Facebook group, sorry, I don't always know who it is on the Facebook group, apologies. So if you could just let me know your name at the end of every message, just so I can personally answer you. It says, Digwell, I checked on our lake today and it has only dropped about 400 mils, so our plots are okay. It's obviously somebody on Digwell's allotment plot. Chilly Kate, hi everyone, looking forward to cooler weather coming and maybe some rain. I'm hoping we're going to get rain. Really hoping we're going to get rain. Muddy Root says, our council followed the government ruling for our area, so I expect a hosepipe ban on the allotment very soon. Sorry, my neighbours are out in the garden as well. I can hear them, and I don't know if it's Mike's picking it up. Jenny says, next door but one has 2 sprinklers that have been going for nearly 24 hours. So cross with them. You can spot them. Only green lawn in the village. That is completely unnecessary. And this is half the trouble. I do feel, you don't need a green lawn. It looks nice, granted, but we're going for a drought. There's going to come a point when, we could end up with rationed water if we're not careful. That might be a bit extreme, but doing things like this, just not necessary. Stuart says, I will sort the pear tree when we get back to school. Thanks for all the help. On another note, I'm saving all my grey water to water the garden. Grey water, that's a good point. Let's see. Jenny says, great to see you, Muddy Boots. Hope you was doing well. Nicholas says, should have read Tubbs on a comment earlier. Toby Stream, I have cabbages ready to plant out, but holding off till we get some rain. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do with all the rest of mine. I'll wait until it just gets a bit of rain, which is coming. I'm hoping it's going to rain all week. Margaret says, my niece robbed us of all our runner beans that I pod in the freezer. Well, good for her. I'm glad she's eating her 5 a day. Turbo Stream, been harvesting French beans, more beetroot and a few early planted leeks this week too. Gotta say, I do love our French beans at the moment. As you may have seen on the website, pod a recipe, chicken, potato and French bean curry, absolutely delicious. And the French beans really do take on that curry flavour well. It was Digwell in the Facebook group. Apologies, I didn't see that, so there we go. Andrew Norris has joined. Good evening to you. And Adrian says, I have 3 large farm ponds and they are all bone dry, even the silt mud. It's not good, is it? Not good how dry it is. At this point, I just want to remind everyone to give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification so that you know we go live, so that you know when we go live. Shall we have a look at one of the videos that have been very kindly sent to me? I think we'll do Beatrice's one first because this is a lovely one. Let's have a look and see what's going on.
From the northeast of England, little update on my plot. These were my onion beds. They've now got leeks in. A little bit late, but we'll see what happens. And I've sown some more salad crops. This is my nursery of plants waiting to go in. And this area needs clearing. As soon as all my potatoes are out, this is where most of the currant bushes are going to go. I've got a row of raspberries. They were late going in, so I'm not expecting any till next year, but they've taken well. My plum tree I managed to prune. I hope I've done it right. My outdoor tomatoes are doing really well this year. Sometimes we don't get them to ripen very well, but the weather's been brilliant for them. And I'm actually getting ripe tomatoes. So this bed is mainly all tomatoes, and the next bed has a couple of tomato plants in. These are my bean arches. The first one has Greek gigantes on, and the second one has green beans. I think they're Blue Lake, but I'm not 100% certain. The end arch has a couple of runner bean plants, but also has some winter squash on. And I should have cut the bottom flowers off, because if we look right at the bottom, that's where I've got the winter squashes growing, and they look quite heavy, so I think I picked the wrong variety to go on an arch. This bed had my calabrese and cauliflower in. They're nearly done, and at the far end it's sprouts. So I need to get these two beds cleared. My beetroot is doing really well, and these are my two beds of onions that are left. These were late going in, and they're getting there. I can see some of them have bulbed up, but I'm not sure whether I'll get any more growth on them. Then these are my dwarf French beans. A few died, and I managed to put a few backup plants in. So we'll see what we get. Moving down the other side of my plot, this is my asparagus bed, but I put some nasturtiums in either end, and they have taken over, so I'm going to get them out in case there's any little spears that need to see the light. My sweet corn, I think, is ready, but I'm sugar free at the moment, so I've got another week of being sugar free, so I'm hoping the cobs might last, because I really want to taste one fresh. My bed of carrots, looking really good. And then I've got my next bed of brassicas with cauliflower, cabbage, green and red, and some kale. My blueberry bushes have produced really well this year. The apple tree I pruned last year has lots of fruit on, but it's got all these young whips. I presume I've got to snip all of them off. Another bed with some straggler tomato plants, and I've had a good crop of salad out of here. I've put some more salad plants in. Here I've this week sown two types of radish, some Swiss chard, some pak choy, and some wong bok. Hopefully I might get something. This is my last row of peas. They're looking really good. Hopefully they'll fatten up in the next couple of weeks. Just need a little bit more rain, I think. And then this is, I've put some winter squash in here, interspaced with some lettuces. And the squash, they're starting to move and grow, but I think it might be too late in the season for them. I'm not sure. This area has all my strawberry plants and all my side shoots from the tomatoes as extra plants, and I'm actually getting tomatoes on them, so I'm quite pleased. And then just my little seating area and my potting bench and compost bins. Hope you're all having a good week. Bye.
There we go. There we go. So I was a bit slow on the buttons there. What a lovely, absolutely beautiful looking plot. Absolutely stunning. I'm really quite jealous of that, I've got to say. Um, Stuart Jackson has said a great video. Thank you. Anna Jones, your plot looks amazing, Beatrice. Uh, Idaho Ganga, well, lovely pot, Beatrice. And there was more I did see. I think this is Digwell. What an amazing plot. And Kate, fantastic plot. I genuinely really am, really like it. That's the sort of style I would love to be able to recreate here at the Veg Grower Podcast. In our garden, but I mean, yeah, I just love it. So much veg going on, so much veg, and so many things going on. It was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I really, really did like that. Back to the comments quickly. Please do keep your comments coming in. Bally Sidin says, apart from watering, I've just been sitting at a plot making notes of my failures and successes and what changes to make for next year. Very important, I think. And this is probably a good time to do it. Very important task, I've got to say there, because failures are where we learn, I feel. And I've been looking at changes to make over this winter period, as you saw in the video I put out the other day. Digwell says some water companies have revoked their vegetable watering clause for this drought. From Digwell, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's why, like I say, I'm promoting at the moment, trying to get, or not so much promoting at the moment, but thinking about over winter, trying to encourage more people to get more water butts to hold on to as much rainwater as possible. Turbostream, I've been watering my garden shrubs with grey water this week. Not practical to carry a bowl to the plot. Get a bucket with a lid. They sell them in camping shops, I've seen. They're pretty good, actually. Graham Arnold, I'm going to water after the show with water from my daughter's paddling pool. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Jenny says, I was reading that we had broken the records for July drought back in the 70s. Not sure how accurate that is, but it certainly seems to be lasting for a long time. Yeah, it is definitely. And the sad thing is, it could keep happening if climate change is going to force it to happen. This is why I'm saying, I mean, I think we're very wasteful in this country with water. I don't understand why we have perfectly good, fresh drinking water pumped to our houses to flush our toilet with, yet rainwater lands on our rooftops, goes straight down the drains and out to sea. I would sooner that we use rainwater to flush our toilets, or even grey water or washing up water or something. That's my personal opinion. And completely not really gardening related, but I do believe that. Muddy Boots is saying, tidying up some dried onions, sat in the shade while listening to this broadcast. You're welcome to zap in, and anybody is welcome to zap in, especially if you're sat in your garden to show us. The link I've put in the comments. Now, Lisa says this is I think this is the same one from UK Green Fingers blog that we usually see. We have a water tap on our site that has been leaking water since it was switched on in April. It has got slowly worse over the months, and we have been told the council are going to fix it since April, but they haven't. It got so bad last month, the plot holder next to it had to put an old mini greenhouse cover on it as it was flooding their shed. It was finally fixed on Thursday, and yesterday, plot secretary has the audacity to email us telling us we now need to conserve water. How annoying. How annoying indeed. Yeah, how annoying. That would really annoy me. Digwell says, lovely Beatrice about that video. Jenny says, a beautiful plot and a great video. I'm very jealous. And Stuart says, with rain forecast, I will be potting out all my buckets. I have about 30 at the moment, so hopefully I will collect lots of water. This is something I regularly recommend. Try and catch as much rainwater when it rains. What's my mum trying to call me? She knows I'm busy on a Sunday. Sorry about that. My mum was just trying to call me. Yeah, I'm always trying to catch as much rainwater. Hence why I'm putting this blog post about setting up as many rainwater butts as possible. Like I said, I've got 14 in my garden, 4 of which are behind this shed, and because they're tucked out and out the way, nobody sees them, but also I don't use them until I really need to. Hence why those 4 are still full, and I'm using up the rest of the water before I move on to those. This, what I keep saying, if you can do it, fit as many water butts in as possible. Even if you have to pump water to them, it's worth doing. Keep your eye out for this blog post when I finish writing it. It should be out hopefully this evening. Andrew Norris says your mum should be watching. I know she should be, but she doesn't, and I don't know why she's bothering trying to ring me, especially not on that number, my personal one. She should know. She should know. Rain forecast has changed here already. No rain tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, we've been keeping a close eye on the weather. 1, because obviously hot weather makes me busier at work. 2, we're praying for rain. 3, hot weather and Roxy don't exactly, the dog that is, mix very well together. We're praying for rain, and we've been looking at the weather. It has a bit of cloud has come over this afternoon. It has just started to cool down, but it's very, very muggy and very, I can feel like that the moisture just being sucked off me. Hopefully that rain is going to come through. Well, it's said on my screen a thunderstorm is due. Hopefully that is going to happen. Yeah, so what's going on in everybody's plot at the moment? This is the main subject that we are covering tonight. I've got one more video and a collection of photos to go through, which will come up in just a little bit later on. If anybody hasn't seen the video that I put out the other day, it's worth going back and having a look at it. This is an actual proper video for YouTube, Facebook, and it annoys me just how dry everything is and how much that is causing a lot of problems on the allotment. We need to come up with a way of making the allotment much more efficient, and this is what I've been looking at lately. The allotment is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not. My home plot is so much easier to look after because it's at home, less weeds. We've got a caller on that note, so I'll come back to that. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, Richard. It's Nicola in Cornwall.
Hello, Nicola. How are you today?
I'm a little bit pooped.
Hot?
Yeah. I decided this morning to go in. Well, first I had to offload the van of a load of timber that I got for free, which I'm going to use to finish off my compost bays. I even managed to get 3 4x4 fence posts, so the bottom bits are rotten, but of course I don't need it as tool for a compost bay, so that was a win. And then they split up some pallets, so I'm going to use some of the bits, they've done my job for me, as slats between them that are removable.
Yeah.
And then after I emptied the van, I went and picked up 40 plus pavers that I got for free off of Facebook, but they were 60 by 60 and they were a little bit heavy for me.
They are those ones, aren't they?
Yeah, before I've had the smaller ones and it's sort of that buffy yellow colour. But unfortunately this week we had a sad time on the farm because Mrs. Fox has been in, jumped my electric fence that was on and stolen 3 of my chickens and 1 of my ducks.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So they're back down in lockdown because normally they'd be out in either the meadow loose or in the electric fence area. And I can't even put them inside the electric fence because she's jumping 3 foot of electric fence.
Yeah, it's not unknown for foxes to jump 6 foot over 6 foot fence panels.
Well, that they normally climb up those, don't they? So yeah. I've got a 6 by 3 meter chicken run that I'm just building.
Yeah.
So I've got to put all the chicken wire, and I thought these pavers would be good for that, and I'm going to totally wire it in, sides, bottom, top, the lot, and then it'll have a tarp over the top, a heavy duty one.
Yeah.
I think the tarp's going to cost more than what the run cost me second hand, but I like the heavy duty quality ones because then they don't rip after 5 seconds.
Yeah, definitely.
So earlier on I was out with the hose pipe and I've actually left it trickling, but it's going into an irrigation system.
Right.
So it's not wasted water, and they've not been done since last week. So some other things are looking a little bit worse for wear. But yes, I had some very nice pate pan that I picked just before and munched while I was listening and watching everybody else's. And that's a lovely pot. And I've done something similar with those pallet collars and lined them, but I haven't got around to filling them because it's too big a job.
Yeah. Well, in this heat, everything's a struggle.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So yes, but as usual, really enjoying my Sunday evening with you all.
Yeah, well, it's lovely to have you here. Now, did you hear Oracle's question earlier about how you are watering your plots with the issues that we're having?
Well, I'm quite lucky because Cornwall has a lot of rain, even though, like other places, the reservoirs are hit. And because of my walking problems, even though I've lifted slabs, it was literally 2 foot from where they were stored into my van. But I've got this problem with the soles of my feet, so it's like I'm walking on bruising the whole time. It's got a fancy name. So I'm actually still using a hose pipe, but all my containers are in trays, or I've done those DPM troughs.
Yeah.
So it's not just running away. And if I didn't do that, I'd have a dead garden for my food.
Yeah.
So I weigh up that way, and I pay a hefty water bill because I'm not on a meter. So, and it's an old farm bill where he had cattle. So my water bill is quite steep, and most of the time I use very little water through the year. So, I sort of, that's how it clears my conscience. And once I've got my IBC tank set up, which haven't happened yet, hopefully I'll be using the hose off of them because I've got 5 of them now.
Wow.
So, that's, and other water packs that I'll have dotted around. So hopefully I'll have enough water not actually to use mains water. But
fantastic.
Like it's like one of the other callers saying about, this leaking tap on the allotment. If they sorted out some of the leaks going around the country, things would be that bit easier for us. Yeah. And I totally agree with grey water and rainwater. And I think all new houses should use rainwater for flushing the loo or grey water. And it should be compulsory in all new builds. Yeah,
I think that as well. And there should be a water butt on a new build for garden as well, and washing the car.
Well, no, I think they should have a big tank under the house.
Yeah.
Like they have in places like Phoenix, where they have very little rain. Solar panels, and harvesting all your rainwater, not just a little bit, the whole lot.
Yeah.
And have it so it can be pumped up for either watering or flushing the loo or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that, because we're now, as gardeners, suffering for the lack of foresight.
Yeah, and we, like you say, we don't need drinking quality water to flush the loos. We're very lucky in this country that the majority of the time our water is the best you can buy compared with other countries.
Yeah.
So why are we being so flippant with it?
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
But I'm just melting. But I go to bed every night with one of these frozen pillow pads that you put in the freezer. I've got 2, so I sort of swap them about. So if I get really bad in the night, I can get out and take one out of the freezer and put the other one back in. But it's when your cats want to come and cuddle up in the middle of the night, and you're thinking, oh wait, it's just too hot.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Anyway, I'll love you and leave you, Richard, and we'll chat another time.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in, Nicola.
All right, thanks, Richard.
Take care. All the best. So there we go. That was Nicola. Now I've forgotten what I was saying about that before that phone call, actually. So let's quickly have a go, look at the comments and see what we have. Turbo Stream says, I have a big blue barrel and two 200-litre water butts all connected together. We'll need a monsoon to refill them after this drought. You'll be surprised just how quickly they fill up and how little rain you need for them to have a noticeable difference in the amount of water in there. Nicholas says the forays not pot in place yet is too hot. A lot of wood chip and compost green waste to remove. Looked at one of my compost bins, which I filled to top with manure less than a sixth in the bottom. It all gets sucked into the ground. Jenny says, I have a list of changes and must do agains, notebook full of ideas and notes. Also listing all of my seeds as a catalogue, so I refer to it rather than pulling all the seed out. Need to save money. Yeah, save money. The bargains are out at the moment. A bit of a talk on that on the podcast tomorrow. Idaho says it is cooling off here. Only 3 days to be over 100 next week. All plants are doing well. I think we've beaten 100 this week. I'm not sure. Stuart says, even the birds have been hiding in my runner beans. Every time I go down the garden, they are sat in the shade. Hopefully they'll eat the slugs. They've been sat there with the wings out and beaks open. That's a sign they are getting hot when they see my chickens do it. They pop their wings out like that, their beaks open. The quail do it as well. A sign they are hot and in desperate need of water. Leave some water out for the birds, guys. Jenny says, I'm collecting bovine manure over the winter, hoping it will hold on to moisture and feed well. Good idea indeed. And Chili Kate says, still no water butt at the allotment, still no shed, but definitely happening this autumn. So I'm still using mains water in watering cans for now. You know, I say we should all be using rainwater, but there are cases, if you haven't got a shed on the allotment, for example, it's not so easy to do, granted. I know some allotments don't allow shed and some allotments don't allow water butts, which I think, you know, that's a stupid rule, I'll be honest. This year has proven why we need so many more water butts. Now, as I said, I'm writing this article up. I've got 4 water butts still full of water, which out of 14. In fact, the one out the front that we use generally for washing the car is also still pretty full. It's probably about half full. So we're not struggling so much with rainwater. We are having to think about it a bit more and being a bit more conservative. But I just think, for me, that proves why we hold on to so much rainwater. But one thing I'm thinking of doing at my home plots, at the moment, I've got 3 good sized 2.4 meters by 1.5 meters bed. I'm definitely potting one more in, and I might be potting in another 2 beds over the winter. But what I'm thinking is to have each bed have its own water butt. I can easily pump water to these other butts, and then get a timer and a seeper hose to water my beds automatically. Trouble I'm having is finding the right timer, one that can deal with that low pressure from a water butt. If anybody has any ideas on that, that would really, I would really appreciate it. Let's have a look at what the photos have come in to the Veg Grower podcast. So Idaho each week is sharing us a picture of her garden, how it's looking at the moment. As you can see here, beautiful lines, full of some very lush growth, gotta say. Somewhere that has less rainfall than us, just goes to show how much it's valued. Now, Philly has mentioned that we have a invisible watcher who goes by the name of Shipyard Gardener, and he sent this picture of his raised planters. I quite like the idea of these. I think on the balcony garden, these would work rather well. And this one is also from the Shipyard Gardener. I think it's some sort of water feature. It looks absolutely beautiful, whatever it is. Now, Kate Spratt, who, as some of us will know, has had troubles with her hip lately and has been struggling to get down to the allotment. And when she does go down there, all she can do is sit while her husband does the work. But that's not meant in a derogatory way at all, by the way. But what I do like is that, I'm going to adjust that slightly, she is getting these apples on her apple trees, which are looking absolutely full. And I've got to say, this year, blackberries and apples seem to be crops that have come out on tops. She's also harvested this beautiful looking tomato, which looks absolutely lovely. Got to be said. I've just realised that the writing's disappeared. So let's go back to, is it that one? No, it's, no, sorry, that one. That's the one I was looking for. So Kate, this is another Kate. She's harvested this a lot from our allotment this week. She's also asked a question in the Facebook group about harvesting main crop potatoes and getting some advice on that. I've seen some people have answered it. If anybody wants to go check that out and add their own answers, then please do. She's also got these beautiful looking squashes. They look absolutely awesome, I've got to say, and tasty. Stuart has been saving money at Wilkinson's. He's bought these 2 metal watering cans for £3 each. Absolutely a bargain. I've got to say, absolute bargain. £3 each. Well worth it, I think. Now, Sarah, who's first time I've seen her in the group, so lovely for you to come along, Sarah, and thank you so much. She's been getting the fruit on her potato plants and was asking what these are all about. For those that don't know, potato plants are closely related to tomatoes, and they do sometimes, after they flower, produce what looks like a tomato, but they're not tomatoes. They're poisonous to eat, but they're not the end of the world. They are how you would get a true potato seed. Nicola, who called in earlier, and I mentioned these tomatoes, they're looking really good, actually, I've got to say. Nice and healthy and growing very, very well. And also these squashes that are just hidden underneath those leaves are also looking absolutely fantastic. So that has been this week's photos. Please do keep sending them in. You can send them to me via email, richard@theveggroweruppodcast.co.uk. Post them in our Facebook group, which you can find on Facebook. Just search for the Veg Grower Podcast. We've got the Facebook page and the Facebook group, or via social media, direct message, etc., etc. Always happy to use them, and I think people really do like to see them. So Turbo Stream has said our plot stipulates if you put a shed on the plot, you must install a water butt. I think that's a good rule. I really do think that is a good rule. I think that should be the same in houses as well. Chili Kate says that's a good rule. Turbo Stream. Motherboot says I will send you a link for a timer that works on gravity pressure. That would be great. Thank you. I've been looking for some. Some I'm a bit unsure about, but if anybody has got some recommendations, that would be good. Idaho says I have to water with a hose every day. I'm not surprised with the amount that you have grown and the size of your garden and how dry it must be as well. The fisherman, I need my food to help me during the cost of living crisis, so I'll water sensibly. Let's not forget 2.3 billion litres a day are lost due to broken pipes. These water companies make billions. It's a very, very good point. This comes back to, I feel, what I said earlier about how we take water for granted in this country. Because we can turn a tap on and there we go, we've got this really good fresh drinking water. We take it for granted. It's not until it becomes a problem that we really think about it. And this is where I say houses should be using grey water more for flushing the toilet. I mean, partly out of problems that I've had, we've got a bathroom sink. Like most people will have a bathroom sink. But our sink is a bit different in that I have it piped into a bucket. Purely, I changed the sink for one that the wife liked, and it was very difficult. The person who put the original hat thing in used weird sizing pipe, and I can't get the two to connect. So I put it into a bucket as a temporary fix, and actually, it annoys everybody else. So I've left it like that. But we can use that water out of that to flush the toilet. Would normally go down the sink. We're using it. Little things like that, I think, just go to show what we can be doing. Ballystillion, the water feature in the picture is an old tub with an old tabletop fitted. Then a solar-powered fountain will be fitted in the middle. Oh, I did wonder. I thought it was a water feature, and I did wonder what was going on there. So great use of recycling. Fantastic. I'd love to see it when the solar powered fountain is up and running as well. That would really be good. Anna Jones says, great photos, everyone. Indeed. Yeah, please do keep those photos coming. Digwell says, the Dalek electronic water timer works on water butt pressure, about £20. That is one on my list I've seen. Meant to work. I'm looking to buy it over the winter and try and set something up. Just because I'm trying to use the water butt to do it with SEPA hoses a bit better than anything else. Beatrice says, great pickies from everyone. Thank you very much. Jenny says, looking great, Kate. There certainly are lots of lovely photos going on in there. And Nicholas says, can the timer be put in the Facebook group too? So if anybody who has suggested these can add the link in the Facebook group, that would be really well appreciated too. I know Nigel isn't on Facebook, so it's a bit difficult, but if he sends me the link, I will share that as well. Turbo Stream, we have taken water for granted as normally we have plenty. There's been discussions on the radio news that we need to be using rainwater to flush toilets, etc. I do agree with that. I completely agree with that. I know it's possible to get a house retrofitted to do that. It should be done. It just should be done. I think the water companies should have heavy fines imposed on them where leaks are left unrepaired. We are all being told to save water. I completely agree. I come back. This is a gardening chat show, and I come back to the fact that we need to water our gardens. We need to water our allotments. I specialise in edibles because I think we should all be growing our own food, and I think most of you are of the same thoughts as me. If we grow our own food, that is essential, and we need water for that. Most of us will have water butts anyway, but we are being made to suffer for things like these water companies who have these huge leaks. For people who are just wasting the water, we are the ones that are suffering. A hosepipe ban probably doesn't affect the most amount of people because who aren't into their gardens. Washing a car is probably the only other thing, or filling up a paddling pool or a hot tub. Maybe things that you might use the hose pipe for. But I see that, I mean, that, you know, I have a hot tub. I haven't set it up this year. But yeah, you know, these I think I read a report, these leaks are losing the same amount of water compared to what we use throughout the year. So, you know, that's half our water gone straight away. Sorry, I'm getting on a bit of a high horse on that one, but it's true. Bally Sidin says, here's my brother, recycling master. That was the invisible person, as it was phrased to me. The fisherman gardener, I think it was called. Master of Recycling. Love to see more of his recycling projects, and if you can fill us up with a bit more information on how he built them as well, that would be great. Digwell says water lost through distribution leaks is not lost, not all lost. Most goes back into the aquifer. Chalk River, ex-Tim's employee. The biggest waste is the cost of water treatment, which is very true. Yes, it's not. The whole water system is not like it's lost, but it's not in our reservoir. It's not in our aquifers. I mean, our water that gets pumped to our house is actually an underground, or pumped from underground. So it doesn't actually come from a reservoir, which is why we've not got a hosepipe ban at the moment. But places that do have a reservoir, it's running low, and then it's being treated, etc., etc. But it's got that knock-on effect. Turbo Stream, most allotment growers or gardeners are mindful of water use, except Jenny's neighbour. That's because they want a green grass. Some people really did. Some people really are obsessed with having a green grass, and I can understand it to a certain extent. It does look nice, but grass is such a tough thing and just bounces back. I mean, I can care two hoots about our grass, if I'm honest, but it does give out nature and wildlife as well. Digwell says, I agree, Steve, but seeing streets on the news with a torrent flowing down and then a guy has to block the water van in because they've been without water for so long. Yeah, two opposite ends of the same argument, isn't it? Sammy K. Southridge, he's my dad. Everything he finds goes into the garden. Ah, yes. So that's the, is it the fisherman gardener, the recycling man? Please do get your dad to share with us some of his projects. We would love to see more of them, and especially how he builds them, etc., etc. Would be really appreciated and also inspiring. Jenny says, TurboStream, they are selfish, and I'm struggling to hold my opinions when I walk past. Oh, talking about her neighbours, yeah. I would be saying something. I think it's time that people did say something with these sort of things. All the time they think they can get away with it, they're going to continue doing it. I'll be fair, I do understand why they want to do it. You know, we all want a nice looking garden, but it's not always that easy. Excuse me. If you can't afford to convert loo to grey water from gutters, etc., you can place with a loo with a basin sitting on top of a cistern. I've been looking for these, Nicola, actually, and the ones I found don't actually have a sink on, or they do have a sink on top of a cistern, but it still could just go straight down the drain. I would like to see a proper sink on top of a cistern where you wash your hands and that water goes into the cistern. Then when you flush the toilet, it's reused there. I would like to see one that is definitely built like that, but they don't seem to exist from what I found. The ones I found, the water just goes down the drain like normal. Jenny says, I have a paddling pool for my kids, but it is one of the big ones that stays up all summer, and you treat the water to keep it fresh. I will store the water after and allow the chlorine to evaporate. Yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with that. Don't get me wrong. If I had enough money and a big enough house and garden, I would have a swimming pool. I love the water. I absolutely love the water. I do have a hot tub, which, as I said, I haven't set up. But that's reusing the water. Okay, it might occasionally need topping up, but it's reusing. There's no, in some ways, there's nothing stopping us from using rainwater for that, except it might be a bit acidic. You treat it anyway. But yeah, I mean, I've got a little tray of water in our garden that is for the dog as well to cool down. Don't know why she doesn't do water. Nicola says they do, and she'll send me the info. Please do send me that, because I will be converting our toilet onto one of those if that's so. Nicola, let me keep on that. Digwell says, muddy boots. I was thinking more of small leaks, not the ones in London's where many of the huge pipes have been affected by subterranean work. London leaks flow to the sea, so are lost anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be a bit fair. When we have pipes running underground, you do find where grounds move up and down as well, you will get leaks. It is kind of part of the problem of having stuff underground. The ground moves, and that will lead to leaks. But that does need dealing with ASAP. I should add the pool was built up before the holidays, so long before the heat wave and drought. Yeah. Grove Veg also says, I got them for clients, Richard. Are they actually ones that use that the sink water goes into the cistern or drains or down the drain? Again, if you can find the information out for that, I would be generally appreciative of it, because I will be buying one to convert our toilet to. Idaho says, many of my neighbours grow lawn. They don't like my lawn because I have lots of healthy dandelions mixed in with my grass plants. Some of them are realtors selling houses, so a weedy yard depreciates. You know what I say to a weedy yard is that it shows there's life. If a garden's just full of grass, there's no life in it. There's no nature in it. A weedy grass has life. It has nature. it has. I mean, I'm starting to think about just letting our grass grow big and wild, in all honesty, in some areas. But yeah, I know. Again, I know in a lot of places in Americas they have those little sprinklers that pop out the soil at certain times of the day, don't they? Um, they look fun, I've got to say, but I've never had that idea. I've never. A bit of a waste. Jenny says, I think Thailand has many sinks on their loos. Great idea. Again, I think I'd be interested to know. I know I saw some in Japan that I thought were a great idea until I found out the water goes down the sink. The new blue Alcathene pipes last a bit longer than the old concrete ones. There's Digwell showing off his former life working for Thames Water. I can believe that the blue plastic pipes probably move with that ground as well a bit better. So, yeah. Right. Should we have a look at Turbo Stream's allotment as well as a garden plot tour that is very kindly sent to us? I think it's about time we did this.
Well, this is my plot tour for what we are now, August. I missed out the last one, so here we go. Anyway, this is the area I'm concentrating on this year. So there was broad beans before. And under there is leeks and swede. I found some of that stuff out, that environment stuff. So we'll go across there. So we've got, doing quite well with the swede actually. Those were sown direct, and then I took them home to rescue them from the slugs, and then I've retransplanted them, and I think they're doing okay. This is my little seed bed. Been really pleased with this, actually. I must be honest. I should do that again next year. This was the other seed bed, which I've got some Swiss chard, which needs to be picked actually. It's got a bit haywire. But I'm pleased with my lupins. Those are intended to go out this summer, but it's been so warm I've left them. I grew these from seed. I'm quite pleased with that. So when this hot weather subsides, maybe in September, October, I shall transplant them into the main flower bed. And then behind there is the French beans. I don't do many because there's only me to feed. And I get a bit of a glut with them. I was picking them last night, they're okay. Going down a bit. We've got the parsnips, which haven't really done very well this year. Sorry for the light, it's very strong sunshine. I've got a few parsnips, there's one there's gone to seed. So I shall be saving the seed from that, taking advantage. I've got one or two parsnips there. I've put in broad beans actually between them this year. I'm not sure if that was a success or not. I've got a few pods going to seed, so I shall save those for next year. But I've got one or two. To be honest, as long as I get enough for my Christmas dinner, I'm not bothered. I'm not a huge fan of parsnips. There was a row of parsnips down here, but they got dug up. So I'm going to clear these calendars and then I shall probably sow green manure in there soon. Another walk around here. This is the main area where I've been growing my stuff, so I've got some very good beetroot. I've been doing well with beetroot. I've sowed an emergency row of parsnips here, and they're coming. Under this is some peas, some dwarf peas. And we go back round here, I've got some more beetroot, I've got some French beans, some purple beans. The light's not very good today. Got more beetroot, and I've got more Swiss chard, which has gone to seed. So I think I'll let that go to seed because I'm struggling for chard seed, so I'll let that go, finish going to seed. And in this area is my little Aldi bug net for my sprouts, and they're looking alright actually. And again, these were sown in the seed bed. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think these are the ones from the supporters club. Pretty sure they are, 'cause I didn't have any Spratt seeds, so that's that. And then coming around finally on this side, this was the onion bed, which I didn't do particularly well with onions. So I was given some tomato plants. So I'm having tomatoes for the first time. And under here are peas and a row of spring onions, again from the supporters club. So really this 16 foot by 16 foot square have produced most of the food this year. And we'll now go on to the soft fruit area. These, believe it or not, are gooseberries. And like you, Richard, mine are infested with all sorts of stuff. There's brambles in there, there's annual weeds, this is self-sown, whatever that is, with spikes on. So this year those will come out. There's my bike, and there's the rhubarb bed behind there. But what I'll do, I'll show you what I did last year, ready for next year. So last year this was all brassicas, which didn't do very well. So I decided I'll make a soft fruit area. So last winter I dug up some rhubarb crowns, and those are looking nice. I've purposely not taken any from that, but I might do. Then it's starting to, there's some really nice rhubarb crowns there. And then behind there, if I can do it without wobbling the camera too much, I took cuttings. So these were red currant cuttings, which I took. Look at that now, that's almost a small bush. So I took 4. There's that one. And there's this one here. There's one behind. And there's one to there. So I transplanted those. And then I transplanted a gooseberry. That was one of the gooseberries which I transplanted and cut right back. That's taken okay. And behind there is a blackcurrant bush which I rescued from home. I got that from Poundland. It was one leaf when I bought that about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's starting to go okay. And then a bit further up the row there's some more gooseberries. It's a bit hard to see this light, but there's 2 gooseberry bushes here. And then these down here are the cuttings. I took some cuttings. So there's one there. There's another one. And there's 2 more, 3, no, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cuttings I think I took. So you can see this area, we had some wood chip delivered, so everything has now gone on top of the leaves. So there's a big mulch of wood chippings all over this. I'm going to go get some more soon. So there you go. So that is Turbo Stream's plot tour for August 2022.
Oh, wrong one. No, sorry. Buttons here, there, everywhere. Lovely video. Thank you so much, Turbo Stream, and absolutely love what you've done there. I've got to say, it's really, for me, what I've noticed is the change throughout the year. At the moment, it's looking absolutely stunning, nice and tidy, as somebody else mentioned. Yeah, fantastic work. Thank you so much for sharing, and I think we've got a lot of appreciation for that. So Idaho says, well, Turbo Stream, so many berry and currant bushes from cuttings. I'm jealous. Beatrice says, looking great at Turbo Stream. Anna Jones says, thanks Turbo Stream, great plot. Stuart Jackson says, great video, very tidy. I wish mine was that tidy. Jenny says, looking great, Turbo Stream. Digwell says, nice one, Turbo Stream. Idaho says, that's an awesome 16 by 16 area. Yeah, a lot of appreciation. Thank you so much, Turbo Stream. So what's Grow Veggie Cake, close coupled toilet with sink and assistant lid that flushes into the system for reuse in the toilet. Talking about this toilet that I can't believe we're talking about toilets on this show, but there you go. Idaho says, I agree, Richard. Yes, I have pop-up sprinklers on the timer. Every patch of my lawn gets 10 minutes per day. If not, it would be bare dirt. Lawn surrounding my veg garden does help keep it cooler. And I read this while that show was going on, and it reminded me of something in that Netflix program. Was it Kissing the Dirt or Touching the Dirt? One of the two. If you haven't seen it, I think it's still on Netflix. It's well worth going to watch. It's basically promoting no dig, but it's also promoting growing plants because of the extra benefits it has. And this got me thinking that lawn is technically grass, technically a plant. So does that help keep it cooler? And I've been wondering about that. I'm actually looking at growing an edible lawn again, or something I can use as an edible lawn again. I did it a few years ago, and I'm looking at doing it again. That'll come up in the future. But it got me thinking a lot that about what they said in that, because, plants do help keep the ground cooler in the sun, but they also help keep it warmer in the winter. A lot of benefits there. Jenny says, it sounds perfect to me, Idaho. Bugger anyone else. I'll have a wild garden and love it. This week I've had rare black bumblebee. I've been asked to log my site in perfect habitat for them. Yes, now that actually, Jenny, that does remind me of something. I put this out. I mentioned this on the Thursday Night Supporters Club podcast. Actually, Thursday night I took my mum's trying to call me again. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to answer it. Thursday night I took a walk to Knepp Castle, which is Knepp Estate, which is an area. It's got like a remains of a castle, basically a wall with a couple of windows in it. And I took a walk around there because they've been rewilding this whole area. Basically, all they do is cut paths. That's the only place they cut. But they've released deer, pigs, wild pigs, beavers, storks, basically a load of wild animals just do their thing on it. And they're saying the amazing wildlife that is coming back to that area just goes to show what can be done. And I completely agree. Letting things go wild and nature finds its way home. But at the same time, we've got to factor in that we do want to, if we're growing our own food, we've got to factor that in too. Just made me think of that. I think I mentioned stalks at Knepp Estate, and the bloke I was talking to when I was walking around, who said that it was on Spring Watch a few years ago because it's the first place in the country in something like 100 or 200 years where stalks have been hatched. So just goes to show, amazing what we can do when we don't interfere. Turbo Stream says it's starting to take shape now. Thanks all. You are very welcome. Some of the cuttings will go up to my cousin's garden in Carlisle this autumn. Yes, now cuttings, absolutely. Taking more cuttings. I'm taking cuttings of some of my plants to try and get extra plants out of them because I want to try and grow as many more plants as we possibly can. Digwell says, Kiss the Ground. I've watched it twice now, and a friend in Canada has sent me the DVD. Absolutely. I didn't know they did a DVD, but it was brilliant. It really was. Woody Harrelson doing the narration, and it really does make you realize just how important gardening is, which is why I think it's been so popular. Ballyslean says, my plot is on a slope this year. I put large plastic barrels at the top of each run of beds, put an upside down bin lid on top with a hole to catch rainwater, fitted a tap, then run soak hoses off them. Ballyslean, I love this idea. I actually did something similar on my old allotment where I was also on a slope, and I terraced basically the beds as we worked our way down. And I had a water butt at the top. I had a timer. It wasn't a very good timer from my experience, but I had soak hoses and it watered all the way down to the bottom when the water butt was about more than half full. But it worked. It really did work. The only trouble is that getting the water to it. So this idea of an upside down bin lid, or somebody once suggested like something like an upside down umbrella with a hole in it to catch as much water, which is a bit like the old water towers that I sometimes see when driving around. Old stately homes as well sometimes have a water tower, and it's basically just the roof catching the rainwater and storing it. Great idea there, something that we could all think about as well. Kate Spratt says, amazing job, Turbo Stream. Chili Kate says, great plot, Turbo Stream. Starting to feel inspired to record one myself. Please do. Please do. I'd love to see them. I would really love to see everybody's allotments. I really do want to get out and about and see more people's allotments. Just this summer hasn't worked. Answer your mum, it might be important. Not knowing my mum, she's probably ringing up just because she's bored because my brother isn't at home this weekend. I know that's what it is. I know that's what it is. Yeah. This is taking quite a nice conversation, actually, talking about drought and rainwater, which kind of I was going to try and talk about next week, how we're dealing with the drought and everything, but that's taking it away. So I've got 13 minutes, and I need to come up with a subject for next week now. Jenny said, sounds perfect, Richard. What was that? Oh, taking cuttings or the soaker hose? Not sure. So yeah, I'm going to come up with a subject in the next 13 minutes because I feel we've been I feel we've been talking about it a lot tonight about how we're dealing with this drought. Ian Beddoes says, has anyone mentioned how warm it is? No, I don't think anybody has mentioned how warm it is. How warm is it, Ian? Let me know, please. Yeah, I was going to next week talk about how we're dealing with a drought, but we're kind of answering it this week, thanks to Oracle's question on the phone. By the way, if anybody ever does call in and have a question, we're more than happy to go through that as well. We don't have to stick to the subject I choose. It's just more I need to have something to prepare the show, so I try and think of a subject that gives me something to talk about and get people thinking ahead. Jenny says Kiss Ground is still on Netflix. I've just checked it. Fantastic. I'll be watching that again when I get a few spare minutes at some point. Probably won't be this week. Although if this rain comes in, it will make things a lot easier. Yeah. So I need a subject for next week off the top of my head. Ian says, even up here in Mank, it's been the low 30s. Yeah, but has it stopped raining, Ian? Has it stopped raining? You always say you always get lots of rain. I'm going to add the link if you do want to zap yourself in for the next 10 minutes. I also want to say, if you want to call in number 07307135174, it's on the top of the screen, of course. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, don't forget. No, you won't see it. What I can see on the screen. Don't forget to like, thumbs up, click, add an emoji, click the notification bell to know that we go live. Follow, subscribe. Don't forget to follow our social media as well, because we're not just on YouTube and Facebook. We're on Instagram. Even got a TikTok account. Don't always use it. I'm trying to improve the social media at the moment, work on the social media. Not easy unless we got loads of time on our hands, which we don't always have. Rain expected for the next 3 days, says Ian, up in Manchester, where it always rains, he tells us. Always rains in Manchester. Yeah. I want to say, actually, 2 weeks ago, we covered Kids Gardening with Lee Connolly. He's actually put the audio from that show out on this week's podcast on the Skinny Jean Gardener podcast. No, the Gardening for Kids, Teacher, Parent, or something like that podcast. First half was out this week. Next half is coming out on Monday. If you want to go and listen to that, I mean, I know you all joined in with the show, but there's something else to add to it. I wanted to share with that. Nicola says, I'm picking up 2 upload more 2-litre ice cream tubs and lids. using to make strawberry planters for runners with 2-litre reservoir using capillary matting. Yes, runners. Yes, strawberry runners. Increase the amount of plants you have with strawberry runners. I love seeing everyone else's plots and videos. It gives me ideas on what I might do next year. It gives me ideas as well. It's part of the reason I want to do it. Part of the reason why I want to see more, because it gives me ideas and things, and also something to aim for, something to achieve. The rewilding and nature returning. Yes, talking about the Nep Castle. Indeedly. What are we going to do next week? Got my brain thinking. I think we yeah. I know what we can do. I want to know, what winter veg are you growing and what are you putting in the ground at the moment? That's what we're going to discuss next week. What are you sowing at the moment? What are you growing at the moment? What winter veg are you growing? There we go. Figure the subject out on that. Which I wish. Digwell says, I wish I brought shares in Robson squashes this year. I'll be rich now. Yeah, I'm drinking a lot of squash at the moment. Jenny also says, I would like some more hunger gap ideas. And do we think sowing times can change earlier, late, or later? So this ties in actually with what I was discussing, or what I suggested for next week. Hunger gap ideas. What are you planting in that will fill up that hunger gap ideas? What winter veg? Yeah, that's what we're going to do next week. What are you planting at the moment? What are you sowing for the hunger gap ideas? For those that don't know, the hunger gap is that period sort of April, May time where our gardens aren't so productive in terms of food, and we're always looking for something that we can fill that gap up with. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Hunger gap ideas. Love it. Idaho also says, great idea, Jenny. And Nicola is giving an emoji to Digwell. Yes, yeah, I've been drinking a lot of squash, but I also try and make my own squash from time to time, believe it or not, or cordial I should call it, 'cause it's technically not a squash. Elderflower cordial, black currant cordial. Probably could do apple and blackberry cordial as well. Using the glut ideas, that's another good one. Yeah, we'll do that the week after. I like that idea actually, because I'm doing recipes, as no doubt you know, I'm doing recipes on the Monday podcast where I'm sharing some ideas of how to use the food that we cook, and glut ideas are definitely one that I would like to feature or trying to use up. We've got a recipe this week, courgette gratin. If you've got a lot of courgettes that we can use, talking of elderflower, mine has gone nuts. Suddenly absolutely covered in berries. Yes, I've noticed that. Our elderberry tree and elderberries out and about are suddenly covered in berries as well. And it's going to be time to harvest those soon before the birds. It's very early for elderberries. It's got to be said, very early. But as I said, blackberries are early as well. And it's a good year for blackberries. So there may be something that the two go together. I don't know. But listen, Richard, do a video on apple cordial. I always have a big surplus. Yeah, okay, I will do. It will have to wait until, unless I buy some apples, but I have to wait until we harvest our apples. But yeah, I could do an apple cordial. I also like to make apple juice or apple cider as well. It's about the only alcoholic drink I do drink, apple cider. But yeah, I can certainly do that when the time comes. Or Digwell as well. And Digwell, I know, is very good in the kitchen. He loves his cooking. He might have a few ideas that he can share with us, especially for the glut one as well. I picked some blackberries for chickens and dogs. There's loads of blackberries out at the moment, I've got to say. And I know I said this weeks ago that I thought the blackberries on my allotment were out early, but all the other blackberries are out very early at the moment as well. Well, I feel it is anyway for this year. saying that, I do remember years in the past that they've been out in the summer. Cool. Ballyson says, don't buy, we wait. Yeah, no worries, I will do it. I will do that, not a problem. And as I thought, with a glut ideas, Digwell is saying, already thinking, Richard. I didn't doubt that for a second. There's one person who knows how to cook and make us all very hungry. It's Digwell. Yeah. This has been a really good show, actually. I wanted. That's what I was going to say. Last week when we were talking about gardening and health, had a lot of great feedback after that as well. And I'm in discussions with a health expert to actually come on the podcast and talk about it a bit more off the back of what we were saying, and how you guys have been helped so much with gardening. So yeah, thank you guys for last week. This week has also been really good. I love the fact that we've had the videos come in, which really have made us think about our allotments, giving us ideas. But I also love the fact that you guys are taking up the ideas and thinking about your own plots. It's what it's all about, isn't it? Thomas, we have loads of blackberries on the plot, been picking loads for the freezer, indeed. And Ian says, I'm doing my best to save water at the moment by just drinking wine. There's always one out there that only drinks wine. Yeah. Well, you must be permanently drunk then, Ian, I'm guessing. Don't know. No, it's been good conversation. Let's say next week we will do this hunger gap, what you can plant now or what you can grow for that hunger gap period. I've got a few ideas on how to do that off the top of my head. Week after gluts, I've got to try and remember these. If somebody would be good enough to jot these down and send them to me in an email so I can remember if I do forget, that would be much appreciated. I really need to get my wife, when she's not on the phone to her dad on a Sunday, to sit in on her editor board and give us a hand. We got 2 minutes to go to finish things off. So if anybody has anything to add, then please do add it to the comments. But I'll just sort of finish at the moment. My allotment, I'm happy with certainly the bottom half of my allotment. I feel that is looking good. The top half, as you saw in the video, I just feel it's a bit scruffy and there's things we can do. I'm looking at an edible lawn. Or a lawn on the allotment, certainly, or grass paths on the allotment. But at home, I'm thinking of having an edible lawn. So that could be something like creeping thyme or ideas like that we can plant. That just I grew one on my old allotment, actually, and it worked quite well. But it makes it edible, but also something that we can walk on. Ian says, I'll have to send you some pictures of my grapevine. One day I will make my own. It's been a good year for grapes this year, actually. My grapevine is absolutely full of grapes. Jenny says, really enjoyed tonight. Amazing photos and the videos, everyone. Richard, enjoyed your allotment video. Have a great week, everyone. Indeed. Please, if you haven't seen the video, please do go check it out so I can get the numbers up. As I said, trying to build the social media presence, trying to build the YouTube channel, trying to build the Facebook page and everything else on the podcast. I mean, the podcast is going absolutely fantastic. Numbers are really high. Just doesn't equate much on social media, and unfortunately, marketing needs social media. Chamomile makes a great lawn. That's a good one. Yep, chamomile. That's a very good one. I'll be adding that. Beatrice, thank you, everyone. Another lovely Sunday evening, indeed. Mine is still only a baby yet, his grapevine. It'll grow. It'll grow very quickly. Anyone planning to stand in the gardens when it does rain? Yep, me. I will be out there, t-shirt off, loving the rain and what we have. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up for this evening. Thanks so much for joining us again, and as always, a lovely chat. Thank you so much for your videos. From Beatrice and Turbo Stream, thank you so much. Thanks so much for your photos. Can't remember everybody who sent the photos. There was the two Kates, the invisible fisherman gardener. I can't think who else there was on the photos, but thank you so much to everybody who sent in the photos. Please do keep sending them. Please do send in your videos as well. We will be back again next Sunday at 6. I will not on call next week, so I should be here in good time. So until then, take care and good gardening. And